People of the internet, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Out of the Park Baseball 17 GM Mode Sim commentary for the Premier League Baseball. I am F5 Penguin. You can find me all over the web at F5 Penguin. And in the last video, we recapped June. Now we recap July. This is a different format we're taking here, and we are going to recap the things that happened, what went well, what did not go well, and look here, ladies and gentlemen, look here, folks, look here, people. We are first out of 22 in the power rankings. We've been that way since mid-July, and we are 28 and 11. Look at this. Look at this. 28 and 11. This is incredible. I am thrilled about where we stand in the rankings. This is fantastic. Look at the stats right here. 7th run scored, 11th batting average, 6th on-base percentage. Home runs and stolen bases, meh. Runs against, 3rd. Starter ERA, 2nd. Bullpen ERA, 3rd. Defensive efficiency, 6th. We are on a streak. So what happened in the meantime? We have to kind of assess what happened. I know you're looking at the news. Let's jump into the news and kind of see where we sit before we look into the games and kind of see how the stats shook out for the month and where we sit for the season so far. Claude Thierry messaged me and he wanted to re-sign. So I sent out an offer. I know he was on an option, but he wanted another year extension after that. So we do have him hopefully for another year. He favors the offer. We have not heard back yet, though, even though it has been 17 days. Oh, no, we did hear back. I'm sorry. We heard back 8 days after that. I apologize. He did re-sign 210 for the next season after the one coming up. No big deal there. We had him for 180 anyway. Another 30K for a guy that's pretty much been locked down for the entirety of the season and last season and the one prior, I think will be okay. Also, something that happened here as we delete that here, we go and look at Don Simmons, who gave me a chemistry update. He wanted to take the time out to say, look here, the things we did, Art Kurks. All the guys rave about how strong the clubhouse has been. This is obviously proof that we figured out the problem. And I think this has a lot to do with us getting over that little streak of losses we had, which I'll show you here in just a little bit. So look at this. We are on a roll. This is great news. I'm thrilled. We have a leader, and I don't care that he's average. Right now I have him as avoid high leverage. But if I can have a leader and he can kind of get us out of jams from time to time and just kind of chill in the clubhouse, why not take that, right? So, boom, we got that. Josh Long got suspended for brawling for 5 games. That has expired, so he'll be back, thankfully. I just thought it was really funny. There was a bench-clearing brawl in one of the games, and Josh Long got suspended for 5 of them. So, and then we had the bad news. The 2 games after that, the Atlantics regret to inform you that Alex Estrada, our star, our stud, another pitcher with an undisclosed injury. Turns out the injury is actually a torn elbow ligament. He's out for 10 months, and I cannot believe can we catch a freaking break? It's ridiculous. I've looked at other injuries from other teams. None of them are as bad as what happens here in Brooklyn. And we've been through 2 trainers, and this one is specifically geared to protecting pitchers and their arms. And this is what happens. This is ridiculous. So I'm pissed about the injuries. Do not get me wrong. I have $600,000 of injuries sitting on the sideline for no reason. It's stupid. I'm so mad about it. We were doing so well. So what did I do in the meantime? Well, I made something happen because you saw even after that, for that week, we were still number 1 in power rankings. And number 2, Laredo. Number 3, Wichita. Number 4, QC. All human. Okay. Kansas City, Tallahassee, Joplin. Poor Joplin. Whatever. We're leading. So we had to make a trade. We had to do something desperate. We had to do something that was going to make a stand. So what did we do? Well, what we did was we gave up a basically roll of the dice for a solid player. We looked back, I looked over here and I said, there's a couple of good players that are sitting out here that are really good with ERA. Who are those people? And I went looking through and I found a young talent who's only 2 years in the majors, so we got 3 years left on his basically free $10,000 contract before we have to worry about re-signs. He's an all-star already with a lot of potential left. I said, let's go get that guy. So we did. Here's what we did. You ready for this? We traded for 24-year-old left-handed pitcher Sergio Leon from Fargo, who's in a rebuilding stage right now. We made the trade. He's our number 3 guy right now. We had to move some stuff around. I'll show you those stats in a minute. Scouting says he's slightly above average, but if we look at our pitching stats, we look at FIP minus 71, 68, 74. Amazing. All major leagues so far. Okay. We look at basic stats. ERA looks pretty good. Earned runs look pretty good. Bases against balls in play look really good here. WAR is 1.7. We're going to be okay with this guy. So we traded him, and we had to give up a lot. But my thought process is we've had a lot of busts so far in the draft. Even at number 1 picks, they've been a little bit scarce in between for terms of quality players. So what did I give up? I gave up a first, a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth. So I gave up my draft. We got a player that's ready to go right now that we know is good. We got rid of Hugo Bellman, who, if we look at the numbers here, the most he's going to do is a back-of-the-rotation pitcher, number 5 guy at best. We had him in long relief. Meh. 4 control, maybe 3 control. Not great. Hasn't really done amazing things for us if we look at the FIP minus across the board. He's done just slightly better than average, but didn't pitch very much. Look here, 2 innings, 5 innings. So we weren't really using him to begin with. And then I also had to give up a talent, though. I had to give up Lorenzo Gallardo, who's a starting pitcher, and I didn't even have him. I had him up in AAA temporarily, but I also had him in AA for a season. So he was up and down. I was kind of hesitant on him with his movement. I found, and he's fragile. History injury was fragile. So I moved him. We got Sergio. I feel really, really good about this trade. I had 2 options. I could have either said, hey, let's not go ahead and do anything and let's ride out the season, bring up some young guys, get them some experience, and tank the season. But damn it, we're 28-11. We're 28-11. We had to do something, so we did. And I picked up a player that I hope will take us into the playoffs. And we're doing that with Sergio Leon. Right now, we made it happen. It is what it is. So I hope you all liked that trade. I spent at least 2.5 hours really struggling to figure that out, kind of figure some things and see if I was going to do well and make that trade or do something else. I tried to go for Oster, but he was worth $1 million, which I didn't have. This guy's $10K. We got him for 3 seasons, this one included. And then we have to worry about a re-sign, which we can just give him money at that point. And we'll have some room opened up. So I feel like this is the best scenario we had, and this is what it got us. We got into the All-Star game. A lot of talent in the All-Star game. We had Leon, we had Rubenstein, we had Garza, Thierry, we had McCarty, who's on fire, Zarnecki, right? So we had a couple of good people, talented people. A lot of people from the New York Queens, too, by the way. They're going to be our problem if they get hot here late into the season. Nevertheless, let's look at what we got going on here. Front office first. So we have been selling out almost every game for the month of July. We had a little bit of a struggle in June, but now we're here. Accounting-wise, we are looking to make $100,000 this season, so we're going to be plus again for our second year in a row after losing $1 million last season, but overall being on top. We spent a lot of money to get some players last season. It is what it is. Now we're looking to really kind of come out balanced, and that'll prepare us for the future, essentially, especially with the upcoming free agents that we have. Looking at our numbers here, we are up 28% attendance per game, up 29% revenue per game, and that's obviously due to the attendance. Even though our season tickets were down, everything else is looking pretty good. Needless to say, I'm pretty happy. So let's take a look at how July worked out. Look at all those greens. We had a little bit of a skid at the beginning of the month. After going 3-0, we lost 2 to St. Paul and 1 to Wichita, and then we smacked that Butte. So good, Wichita. So good. And then we got slaughtered for 3 more in a row against TR, which seems to be our problem. We always lose to them, no matter where we're at in the season, where we're at in the entire PLB. We lose to them. I don't know why. It's something in the water, I guess. I don't really know. We were at them for a game and home for two, and we lost all three. But then look at the tear we went on: 1-2-3 versus Kansas City, two against Toronto, three against Gary South Shore, three against Albany, three against Joplin. We went on a tear, and we finished with a loss and then a win versus Winnipeg, and that brings us to August 1st. How did the month shake out? I'm glad you asked. Let's look real quick at July. 20-8 in July. If that's not a deem successful, I don't know what is. So far, we've won 2 of our months. We have 1 more to go before the big September push, and the last 10 games were 9-1. Here's the key: 3-0 in extra inning games, which is important, but more importantly, we're 8-3 in one-run games. Remember our record last season, 3-11, I think it was? This is where we want to be. In terms of batting, our average, again, is not the best, but we're getting on base, we're scoring runs, and we're somehow doing that all while leading in strikeouts and in bases on balls. So I guess that's good. But it all comes down to our pitching. Our pitching has been a staple of Brooklyn baseball since the beginning. We had a couple of slumps mid-season, 56, 57, but I think we're back in it, even without the god that is Nick Clark that we basically handed to QC. We are doing so well. ERA third, second starter ERA, third bullpen ERA, third in runs allowed, seventh in hits allowed, first in walks, seventh in strikeouts. We are doing really well. So let's look at the numbers and kind of see where we sit right now. As you can see, Alcala took the number 1 spot, Claude Thierry number 2, Sergio number 3, Rubenstein number 4, Walker number 5. I had to put a pitch count on Walker. He's too streaky for me. I can't deal with that right now. And also, to avoid injury, I'm putting a 100-pitch limit on my studs. That's going to be Alcala and in the future Estrada as well. Kira's has been doing really well for us. We have to give our tip of our hat to him. He's second in saves in the league. Thierry holding it down, shutting down fools. He's pitched 31 innings, .85 ERA, 9 strikeouts per 9 innings as a setup guy. Pretty impressive stuff. Garza, same thing, 0 ERA. Blank him across the board. 19 innings pitched. Now, you're going to look at here and you're going to see something else, too. You see Nick, Penguin, whoever you are, person out there on the web that I know. Who's this Merlin Bates guy? Well, we found him in free agency. He's 35. He's not going to surprise us with anything flashy, but he is the stopgap that we need. He is the guy that we needed to kind of help us out up in the majors, especially by giving up Bellman and having a couple injuries that we had. We got this guy. So he's not going to wow you, but we got him up for $10K, and we have him for the season, and then we can negotiate an extension afterwards. I basically wanted to get a stopgap of a guy that was going to do quite well for us, and if you look at the numbers here, they kind of show that we're going to be okay. He didn't do too well in Albany last 2 seasons ago. Then he went in the minors for a couple of seasons, but if we can hold him in a, as you can see what I did here, a avoid high leverage situation along with Kirk's, I think we'll be okay. We have 12 pitchers. I think we can use them to our advantage and really make something happen. Lineup wise, let's take a look at our hitting and how that's working. I'm not going to change a thing. Midway through last month, I did make a change because we were losing so many games. I just told the coach to reassess our lineup and kind of put things back in order. We got Roberts back, by the way. Capper went back to center. Long is obviously back from his suspension. But we look at our batting stats, and we pull up the scope of a split here for just July. And over the month of July, our number 1 hitter was McCarty. Number 2 was Roberts. He was injured for a while. You can see that from the numbers there. Number 3 was Zarnecki, 4 Capra, 5 Philpott, and that puts us to the 250. So we have some trouble here. Pablos isn't as hot as he was last season, but as a catcher, I don't expect it. Ciula, he's mad, and it shows. 214 hitting. He is the only problem on our team now. If we go to default, we can kind of see it. And even with us winning, he's kind of just moved to happy. He was angry midway through the season. He wanted to be starting on both sides, and lefties and righties, but he's not a righty hitter. So we put him to only lefties, and he seems to have gotten happier over the last 10 days or so. And I only can think that's due to winning and the value of having a leadership role. I think that has a lot to do with it. So this is where we're at. I feel pretty confident. I'm riding high right now. I really am. I think this is a fantastic thing. I don't see too many issues that we need to really address other than the fact that Josh Long is going to be our issue for hitting. Now, the issue with Josh Long is I kept him under a weird situation. I got him on a vesting option since he was fragile, as you can see here. He has to play 70 games. He has to play 70. Now, I want to kind of open up the, what do you want to call it? The ability to move that money and get a better right fielder. I think I have a couple of better options, either in minors or in free agency this season that we can go after. But we're going to have to move him. So the requirement is 70 games. I don't think he's going to get there. If you look at the numbers here, let's pull up the split and pull up regular season. He's at 32. If we get close and he doesn't get any better for the month of August, I'm going to put him on the bench. It's going to happen. And then he won't vest out, and then we'll just move him on and get somebody else. I can't take the risk and just hold on to that contract if he's not going to perform as well as we need him to be, especially at 170. It's not like the guy's doing amazing and he's too expensive for us, so we have to move him back. The guy's crapping it up. He got suspended. He's not doing well for us, so it's time to move him if we need to. And we'll see. We'll see how August goes, and we'll make a decision. To replace him, we have Porter, which isn't the best option. He's hitting 239. So I don't really like to go with him. But if we don't have an option, then we don't have an option. That's what it comes down to. So I'll pull up the July numbers again so you can see that right there. See where we sit. I'll also go over to pitching and pull up the July numbers for pitching. I feel like that's important. There's July. And you can see that Kira's, oddly enough, leads in ERA, and Zelaya was not that way. He was our best ERA earner. Kira's not so much, but we're getting out of jams. We've struck out 12, walked 6. So that's pretty crazy in and of itself. For July, that is. Earned runs of 9, which is kind of frustrating as well, but we only have had 1 blown save, so take it for what you can, right? We'll get 6 saves, we'll get 2 losses, but we're getting the wins when we need them, and he's keeping us in 1-run games, and that's really all I can ask of him right this second. I hope those numbers improve just a hair, but that's not going to, I don't think it's going to make or break even a playoff game because we're hitting to support him. So if we can keep that going, we'll be okay. Moreno is surprising us in July. You look here, he only pitched 7 innings, but he's done quite well for us. Only gave up a run, and that was off of 1 really, really terrible game. Has struck out 5, 3 walks, not terrible. And our leading inning earner is going to be Alcala at 39 innings. So we're letting him kind of just go. And I feel like that's working out for us. I really do. We're also doing quite well with Sergio so far. We've only had him for a couple of days. He'll be our starter number 3 here in the next game, and we'll be good there as well. In the next video coming up is the All-Star game. That's happening right now. I think that's at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of the month in August, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, that's right here. So it's the next game coming up. So Sergio Leon's first game will actually be against Minnesota, I assume, if he doesn't play too much in the All-Star game. But they do get a day of rest, so that might actually help us there. And then we got a little bit of a tough streak ahead of us with Normal, who seems to have our number, and QC. So we'll have to hold on to that, and Fargo as well. We'll see how we fare against the team we just got the big trade from. Of note, Steve Oster left Montreal and went to Laredo. So $1 million for one of the human AI managers against the AI manager. We went for Oster, and he's now on Laredo. So we'll see how that pans out for them as they look to make a push into the playoffs as well. But that being said, this is a good time. I feel really confident for the first time in honestly forever, no frozen implied. I think this is going to go well. We are 3rd in ERA for the league. Nick Clark's number 1, which bothers me. 1st in wins, which is amazing. I think this is good. Like, we have to have everyone die again like last season in order for something catastrophic to happen. So I think we have enough subs in place. We have enough backups in place that I think we'll be okay. I think everything will be okay. We just have to ride the wave that will be the injuries coming up at the end of August. Like it happens every year. We just need to ride that out and get it going. So we're going to do that now. I will leave you here at this right now. This is Out of the Park Baseball 17 GM Mode Sim commentary for the Premier League Baseball. Link is in the description below to the website. You can get facts tips, tricks, all the good info about the league. And of course, like and subscribe to this video. Leave your comments below or on Twitter at F5Penguin. You can find me all over the web at F5Penguin. And I will see you all in August in the next video. Making a playoff run. Take that. Avo.